Hello, everyone. We're so excited today. We have Lauren Denton with her new book, The One You're With. We're so excited to launch your campaign, and we're just so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it.
So it publishes on July 6th,
Yes.
and we just want you to tell us all about it. So why don't you give us a quick synopsis, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so The One You're With is about Edie and Mac. They're a husband and wife who they have a good life, a pretty good life. He's a pediatrician. She's an interior designer. They have two kids. They live in a pretty nice part of town. They just have a pretty solid, not perfect, but pretty solid marriage. And one day into his office walks a young woman who pretty much drops the bomb on them, and they are left to deal with the fallout of figuring out how they got to this point in their marriage, what's happening right now, and where they're going to go in the future. And it's told back and forth between Mac and Edie's points of view, and it's also told in two time frames. It's present day with the girl walking into his office going forward, and then it's 20 years ago during one summer when Mac and Edie spent the summer apart. He went to the beach to work for the summer, and she went to New York City for an internship. And they, some things happened on both of their ends that summer that sort of inform what's happening right now. So, yeah, it's a marriage story. It's a story about memories and future. It's a good one. I like it. I hope everybody else
I'm
does.
excited. I'm anxious to get the ebook because I'm going to put myself on the list to get it. But I mean, I told you I'm like having a hard time reading physical books, so I'm all about the ebook right now. But anyway, perfect for summer reading, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So tell us more about what inspired this story of, the husband and wife, and you write, alternating perspectives. What inspired you to go with this story?
Well, when I first conceived of the idea, the main thing that kept coming in my mind was that all of my previous books, with the exception of one with hurricane season, all of my previous books had pretty bad husbands, pretty bad guys that the reader, it was pretty obvious that the wife or whoever was better off without this guy. And I wanted to write a story of a good man, a guy who's trying to be the best husband and the best father that he can be. And then this thing happens, sort of brings back something from his past, and he has to figure out how to try to keep his family together and keep his world together. So I really wanted, and I wanted to have a wife who has a good husband, who doesn't have, it's not a situation where she's like, oh, well, I'm out of here for 100%. So that was part of the reason, or that was the main reason why I wanted to give Mac and Edie equal time on the page. I wanted to see her, all of her turmoil as she's dealing with all this. But then I also wanted for people to see Mac so they could see his reasoning and his love for his wife. And so it would just be a little more evenly split. It was interesting. It was hard to write. But it was fun too.
Yeah, I think it's so true that oftentimes in books, the guys are scumbags. And marriages fall apart. And I know that's reality that happens, but it's so nice to read a story about a solid marriage that, is with people that both want to be together, And I think that's not the typical thing that happens.
I think it's convenient. I mean, I've done it 4 times now. I think it's convenient in my books, not in real life. I think it's convenient for as you're writing a story, you want to write a story about, if you're writing women's fiction, about the woman really walking through something and learning something about herself. And sometimes it's easier to just get that husband out of the way and let her do it on her own. But I think a different type of challenge is, how do I deal with this and still love my family at the same time in the best way that I know how. So it was tricky, but I kind of had to walk carefully.
Yeah, I think this will be such a great book for summer reading and also book clubs. I think this would be awesome.
I hope so. There's questions in the back that I hope will spark good discussion. Yeah, that would be great.
So if somebody hasn't read a Lauren Denton book before, I mean, we basically talked about it the whole time just now, but what types of themes and things are you really, showcasing, I guess, in your books?
My themes have varied in all of my stories, but what I really want when somebody sits down with one of my books is I want it to feel warm and welcoming and like a sort of like a soft place to land at the end of the day. I do all my pleasure reading at night before I go to bed. Maybe it's early in the morning, maybe it's carpool line or
Mhm.
whatever, or between shifts, but I want it to feel like a bit of an escape. And I think I don't shy away from putting heavier topics and themes in the book because I think, life is hard and hard stuff happens, and to shy away from that is sort of being dishonest about the way life really is. But I like to balance those, whether it's infidelity or infertility or family regret, big things. I'd like to balance that with humor and lightness so that it feels like a good mix of the heavy and light and salty and sweet all
Yeah,
together. So it's not super heavy. I don't want to send somebody to bed feeling like
like,
the weight of the world is on
yeah,
their shoulders. Yeah.
yeah. There was a Q&A that I read that you did that you said something about you want your books feeling like home because
Yes.
you miss
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
you grew up,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
that what am
Yes.
I remembering it right?
Yes, there's a lot of the themes in the book in one way or another deal with the character finding her home, whether it's a place or a person, because I think you can find a home with people just as much as you
Absolutely.
can in a place. And I do miss my home, my hometown. So a lot of where I set my books, they're always in South Alabama because that's where I'm from, and that's the places I know best. So yeah, and I think we're all kind of looking for our home and
Absolutely.
trying to keep our home around us. So
Yeah.
hopefully
I
that will
mean,
resonate.
reading a book that makes you feel just that you can curl up and like, oh, at the end of the day, I mean, that's all you really want is the
Yeah,
escape. You
yeah,
also want it to be like nice and feeling good too.
sure, right,
So,
yeah.
but we're so excited to launch your campaign. The sign up link is in our profile and we will go from there.
That's great.
Um, if you have trouble finding the link, we have sent an email out, but this one comes out July 6th and we are
Yeah,
so excited. And
yeah.
Lauren, you're just
Great.
a delight. So
Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
for chatting
Thank you
with
so
me.
much.
And we will go from there. We're so
I'm
excited.
excited. Thanks, guys.